Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dakr City. So I've actually made a couple of changes just to the map. So this is the old one, and this is the kind of new one. I've actually imported kind of what we got. So the kind of main things that you can see, I haven't actually put in the actual writing, but you can kind of see what's going on. So I've made a kind of small river going down to here, and also a river on the other side as well. So you can actually see where we've kind of been building on episode 1 and 2. This kind of small part. If you're wondering what these crosses are, it's because I've taken the picture from World Painter, and these were all marked as read-only. And next time I'm going to do it kind of normal. But yeah, so this is the kind of scale that we're kind of working on. That's the biggest, that's the apartment building there, and compared to the map, it's pretty tiny. But what I've actually done, kind of off camera, is I've actually started on a couple of this kind of small area here. I wanted to have kind of a historical shipyard type place here. So what I've done is I've put in all of my kind of ships like the HMS Victory, HMS Warrior, those kind of ships. I put them in there. We'll probably do some work on here at some point, and then basically the military complex kind of bases it'll come over this river, and then all of this kind of pretty much all the way down here, to be honest, is going to be kind of a military area. But I'll probably at some point kind of have some other stuff as well down here. Possibly, I'm not really too sure yet, but you can see that I've kind of also just been playing around with this kind of road, which is going to be going across our motorway, and also just basically laying it out across here. It looks a bit of a mess at the minute, as I'm trying to figure out a kind of rough bridge path and road path from each side, really. And I'll probably bring this one all the way across to here or something like that. There'll be another road that kind of goes down. They can't really go straight down, so it's going to be interesting how I go about it. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll quickly just show you guys this area, but probably at the beginning of each episode, because you guys have actually, when I asked you yesterday, kind of last episode about what you kind of wanted to see, you gave me a lot of kind of ideas and choices. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to just kind of focus on different areas at different points, just keep on switching, and probably at the beginning of the episode I will kind of go through where we are on the map so that you don't get lost and we don't kind of... Alright, so here we are at the historical dockyard. So this is actually the lake. You can see that it's actually a lot bigger than it looks on the map. And what I've done is I've basically just created these kind of basic piers here, which I'll go over in detail. I've just copied them off my older world and put in wood instead of they had quartz blocks instead, which doesn't look amazing in this texture pack. But you can see most of my sailing ships have kind of been placed in here. So I mean, the newest one, the Santa Maria, is in there. We got the 14-gun brig, the Black Pearl, of course, HMS Victory, the Mary Rose, and also HMS Warrior. I am going to have to make a couple of edits on these just to make them look quite a little bit better in this texture pack, because these gold blocks, I'm not really that much of a fan of them. But what I have done is switched it over to the clay. I think that looks a lot kind of nicer with a kind of deeper red colour compared to, for example, this red wool. And the same with the white as well. I think it looks a little bit more... I don't know, I think it just looks a bit nicer, a bit deeper and everything like that. So I think I'm going to use clay for most of my ships when I actually convert them over. But yeah, what I'm planning to do in this area is actually have obviously a road coming here, but it'll be kind of like a tourist attraction to come and see the old tool ships that are all kind of docked here. And it's also quite a nice place that when I do kind of get this map done enough for you guys, and either if I have it on a server or again, if I make it a little Hunger Games maps as well, you know, you've got kind of, you can see the different types of ships, and that's one thing that I kind of wanted to do as well with these, is show you actually the scales and things like that, like the HMS Warrior, of course, being a later one than the HMS Victory, and the size difference, same with the Mary Rose as well, and the actual shapes as well are completely different. If I just get onto my map here, you can see the kind of how different the actual shapes are, which is quite nuts, really. But yeah, so I've got a couple of those there. I'm sure I'll add to them kind of later on as well. I'll add a couple of the ships in that I get to make when I start building again, like the Jackdaw, for example. That'll definitely be somewhere nice prize position here. What I'm thinking about doing anyway is kind of making an old quite an old style building here, kind of like a naval, quite a lord's house type thing. And it's quite difficult to explain exactly what I kind of have in mind for this area, but what I'll probably do off camera is kind of cut this back a bit and make a kind of touristy area, I guess. Then have a kind of nice looking house, either here or maybe there. But I don't know. I'll have a look at where it'll kind of look out. But that kind of like Admiralty type building, kind of probably out of I think sandstone or stone brick. I'll kind of have a look at the kind of materials and try it out. So I'm just going to cut this back quickly, but that might be what's the time lapses in this video, but it might not. It really does depend on kind of how much time I've got to actually do this episode. So I'm just going to cut this back now. Alright, so let's have a look around the actual grounds and kind of what I've done after the actual time-lapse as well. There was a lot of bits that I actually changed in the actual time-lapses kind of as we kind of went on, and I'll kind of explain those as I kind of talk you guys through this building as well, which is completely different than I actually had planned. Usually I just draw it, you know, as you saw at the beginning, I drew out on the floor, it actually being planned. I ended up having to change. These corner pieces used to be just straight, but because the windows are 3 wide, it didn't work quite right. They were kind of sharing something, and I wanted this block that you see there, that one block that you see just from a random angle. I wanted to be able to see that, so I ended up having to actually change the actual floor plan. So in the video it's kind of straight, but this actually kind of rounded it off, and it actually worked a little bit better and in my favour, and kind of gave it a little bit more shape actually just by doing that. It was basically just pushing that wall kind of forwards instead, and kind of out to the side by one, but it kind of worked really nicely. I kind of want you guys' input on the actual colour scheme as well. I'm not 100% sure on the stone brick. I did have it with brick kind of at one point in the time-lapse when I was just setting it out, and I decided it just looked a bit too, I don't know. Even though this brick texture is a lot nicer than some of the ones I've seen before, it just didn't look quite right with this. So yeah, like, can you give me your input on that, and the actual, also the roof color as well? If I should switch that out for something like the nether brick that we've got is actually black in this texture pack, so I didn't use that because I think it looked too dark. And I'm not really too sure what else to use for the actual roof, so I ended up going with the actual stone stairs. I could always, of course, use stone brick stairs, but then that would look too similar to that, the kind of main body. So if I change the main body, I might switch the actual roof to stone brick stairs. But yeah, give me your input on the actual color scheme. I haven't done any of the interior, as I kind of said. Actually, quickly, I need to show you guys this balcony type area. Should I make these kind of front bits here? Should I actually connect them across the side, do you think? Or should I keep it kind of going in and going around and just having it as a kind of extension? And also this top part, do I make this an actual balcony? At the minute, it has no purpose at all. So do I actually cut through these? But I'll just show you the actual empty cavern that we actually have, because this place is huge. I mean, it's seriously, it's pretty massive. I think it's bigger than the actual keep that I had in Dakr as well. But because I only showed a little bit of the actual time-lapse, not all of it, of course, I skipped loads and loads of bits. I just showed you guys what I was doing with the windows, and then I would just copy it to about 1 million other windows. Which saved me a lot of time to kind of get around to that. But yeah, it's pretty massive. It's going to take me a while, but I'm planning on having this as a kind of naval museum for the historical dockyard. This will be the kind of historical dockyard of my kind of city. So it's quite a nice couple of the windows and the views and stuff going over. It's quite nice from these towers and things like that. So I'm quite happy with that. And one thing I quite like actually on this side bits kind of here, I guess, yeah, these kind of bits here, I quite like this kind of walkway that you've got between this kind of, I wanted to make this middle section here a bit bigger. As you can see, I think that looks pretty cool. I think it works well as well with having the white as a bottom and then having a different color for the top. I think that worked out really well, and it kind of has these nice, I really like these walkways. It just kind of fits into the actual build as well, so I'm quite happy with how that turned out. I also need to kind of off camera, I'll probably make like a path or something like that as well, and kind of work a way in. I might do like a garden. These trees are actually custom trees, so I'll actually put in the description the PMC page where you can get this kind of, it's basically a massive library of really cool trees. I'm not too keen on this one. This is the WoW tree. Well, not WoW tree, but from World of Warcraft is what I mean. And the only reason I don't really like it is because of these gaps that we've got in here in the leaves and things like that. It's a bit odd, I think, for this world. So I still got the gaps in here. This willow looks absolutely incredible. I'm really amazed how this guy actually got this willow to look. I think that just looks ace, and I think it works on this lake as well. And then we just got a smaller one. I think it's a blackthorn. I think something like that. And I put another tree up there as well, which I think this is another one from the World of Warcraft pack. Though the World of Warcraft pack has a load of numbers, so it's really difficult to kind of tell. But it had this kind of angle to it, so I decided to put it into the hillside. Actually kind of connect it in there, and it's going to got the roots that kind of connect in. It just kind of worked really nicely with this kind of angle that it has. So I'm probably going to populate this entire terrain by hand with the trees, actually, and trying to really merge it into the actual terrain as well. The mountain that's actually there, that's the military mountain, just in case you're wondering. But I'll just go through the actual ships that I've got here. I'm going to put all the tutorials for these ships that I've currently got, at least, in the description. The only one we haven't got is the Santa Maria. That tutorial will be coming out quite soon. It won't be too long for that one, so you won't have to wait too long. But if you guys are interested or you see these kind of ships and you want to learn how to build them, I've already got the tutorials up. So, yeah, so there we've got the Black Pearl. A lot of you guys have already seen this one anyway. It's still quite a cool ship. It's also the Queen Anne's Revenge. The Black Pearl is actually based off the Queen Anne's Revenge. So if you want the Queen Anne's Revenge, you just have to switch out for like wooden planks. Depending on your texture pack, really, this doesn't really work. I don't think it looks really nice in John Smith, but it doesn't really work like that kind of style. So you just have to switch it out basically for wood. Pretty easy. We've got the 14 gun brig. This nice small ship. It's quite a nice little one. It's my first kind of small ship actually. I actually thought that the Santa Maria was bigger than it, and it really isn't at all. I think the Santa Maria is my kind of smallest of the kind of really highly detailed ones. Then we've got the Mary Rose, which is my longest tutorial yet at the minute, because I went through the sails in incredible detail. The HMS Victory, which a lot of you guys have done. I might revisit the sails now that I've kind of got an idea of how to do really, really nice ones and figure that out. So, but I'll have a play on this world first to try and get them. And this is actually my one with the entire interior as well, which is kind of nice. I think what I'm going to start doing is try and get some of these ships at least. The Black Pearl I'll definitely do an interior for, and the 14 gun brig. Santa Maria, I've actually already got one on that as well. So I'm going to start to try and get ship interiors as well. Yeah, Mary Rose, HMS Victory, and the massive HMS Warrior, this kind of massive mammoth of a ship, which I've got in two parts because the sails, again, kind of took quite a long time. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode of Dakr City. It's been quite an interesting one. Definitely going through this historical dockyard. I quite like putting my kind of builds that I've already got in it. Really does populate it. I might spread them out a little bit more. Possibly like bring... It depends how many more sailing ships I plan to make, but probably bring some more docks out here and just spread them out for the time being. Just to kind of make them look good. And the reason I've got the sails up just before you ask is just because they look better with the sails. It kind of showcases them a little bit better, so I'll get to the Victory at some point and redo those. But I just kind of like the look of them. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And next kind of time, we're going to go to the full modern naval base as well. So I'm going to start kind of laying out the basic tracks of those and putting in my ships. And we'll see what happens. So thanks for the support, guys. I'll see you in the next one.